Welcome back. I hope you're doing great. In the conceptual class, we understood what are the different ways of inserting the data into tables. Now, let us understand all these ways by doing a hands-on. Let's get started. I have logged into MySQL and let us see what are the databases here. Show databases. Okay, I have different databases. I will go ahead and use university. We are in a Blissmas university, right? So university. Now, what I'll do is first I will go ahead and demonstrate how do you insert the data in a standalone mode. First and foremost thing is let us go ahead and create the table. You would have created a table multiple times. Let us create a table again. In this table, we have 5 attributes: num, name, age, salary, and country. The name of the table is dancers. So into this table, if you want to insert the data in a standalone mode, we have to type in the values to insert into this particular table. There are a couple of ways to insert in a standalone mode. One of the mode is, if you observe here, I am specifying insert into dancers. This is the name of the table, and I'm specifying all the attributes num up to country. Then I'll say values, and I'll specify what are the values I want to insert into the columns of this particular table. Let's go ahead and hit a enter button. Awesome. We inserted these 2 records. Let us see the records are there or not. Yes, we inserted that rows successfully. Now, the one more way of inserting in a standalone mode is you say insert into dancers values. You are not specifying the columns here. Let me explain that here. If you see here, earlier when we inserted the data, we specified the column names as well. Let me show that you. We specified the column names as well. If in this case, we are not specifying the column names, we'll say insert into dancers values, and I go ahead and specify the values. Done. Let us see how the data looks like in the table. There you go. Awesome. One more approach is you want to insert the data for only few columns. We can do that as well. If you observe here, we are inserting the data to only 3 columns, and we are specifying which are the columns into which we want to insert the data. So if you observe in the table dancers, we have 5 columns. In those 5 columns, we are inserting the data to only 3 columns. Done. Let us see how the table looks like. Select star from dancers. It inserted the data into num, name, and country, but in other 2 columns, since we are not specifying any values, it inserted the null values. Wonderful. These are the 3 ways of inserting the data in a standalone mode. What is the next one? We need to insert the data from a file, which is a very, very important use case. In order to insert the data from a file, what you need to do is you need to have a permissions. Okay, the permissions mostly as a part of the project, you should already have a permission. If you don't have a permission, check with your admin to get a permission to insert the data into the tables. So what we have to do is I'll show you, like, let me log out from this. Okay, then while logging into the MySQL, what you have to do is go ahead and say MySQL hyphen local hyphen in file is equal to 1 hyphen u root hyphen p. Okay, so and provide the password. Let me get into the university, and also specify that you are setting the global local in file is equal to 1, where I can insert the data from local files, where you can insert the data from local files. Yes, we are all set. What we'll do is we'll create a table now. The name of the table is dancers1. All we have done is we have changed the name of the table. That's it. All other things remains intact. Do we have it data in this table? No, we don't have. We never know. Sometimes aliens are there. Let us check. No, there is no data. Let us insert the data into this table from a file. in order to insert the data from a file into a table, we have to follow some of the steps. What are the steps? First and foremost thing is you have to go ahead and scan the file. Let me open this file. This is the file I want to use to insert the data into a table. So this file has how many fields? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And what is the delimiter here? Comma is the delimiter, right? So we have 5 fields and comma is the delimiter. So we did scan through the file. Accordingly, we have to create the table. So by considering the fields, by considering different aspects mentioned in a file, we created a table now. So after that, while inserting the data, by considering how many fields are there, what is the delimiter, by considering that, we went ahead and created a table, right? So if I want to insert the data into this table, what I need to do is I have to specify some of the options, which I'll show you now. So pay attention here. What I did is I said load data local in file. Okay, in file means from the file. Local means from the local operating system. And we got to provide the path where the file is there and also the file as well. And I'm saying into table dancers1. That is the name of the table. I'm specifying fields terminated by comma because if you cut the file, fields are separated by a comma. Okay. Then next thing is lines terminated by new line because if you enter here, it is new line. Okay. So you have to specify that as well. Ignore one row. Why are we ignoring one row? Because the first row of the file is the column heading. Since we have already created the schema according to this particular file, we want to insert this first row. Okay. After that, you run this and let us see whether the data is inserted or not. Yes, successfully we have inserted the data from a file into a table. So we do have different variations while inserting the data from a file. You can explore that on your own. The next important way we insert the data into a table is from tables. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create a table called dancers4 with the same number of attributes. Now, what we have to do is we want to insert the data from dancers table. So we have some 4 records here. In this use case, what we are trying is I want to insert the data from the dancers table which satisfies a particular criteria. Here if you see, insert into dancers4, select star from dancers where salary is greater than 50,000. So we are inserting the data from one table to another table by specifying a condition. Let me hit enter button and see how does the data look like in dancers. Yeah, if you see, only those 2 records which is satisfying these conditions are inserted into this table. What if I want to insert the data into only few columns? Then you have to determine which are the columns you want from the original table. In this case, we are interested in only 3 columns out of 5 columns in dancers table. So we are creating a table called dancers5 with these 3 columns. How do we insert the data from dancers? Very, very simple. So what I will do now is I'll say insert into dancers5 and specifying the columns, and I'm selecting these 3 num, name and age, and I'll specify from dancers. See, we're inserting the data from one table, that is dancers table, into dancers5 by selecting only few columns. Let's go ahead and do this. Now if I go and say select star from dancers5, we have 3 columns selected from dancers5. You may be wondering, can I combine both the earlier use cases? Yes, you can. So in the next use case, what I want to do is I want to select only 3 columns from dancers table and select only those records which are having a salary greater than 50,000. Let me create a table here. Done. Pay attention here. Insert into dancer6. I'm selecting these 3 columns from dancers and I'm specifying a condition here. where salary is greater than 50,000. So done. Let us go ahead and check the data. These two records satisfy this condition of salary is greater than 50,000. Awesome. We understood all the three ways of inserting the data into a table. Please do practice all these three ways. Thank you.